Welcome back to another episode of Aunt and Andrew with Family's Everything.
Until it's not. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Aunt. Are you
Do
ready to review something that we will never have to review something like this, hopefully, ever again?
well, you know what? I've got to say that I have a feeling we may never be doing another Jersey again.
Oh,
I
I
don't
disagree.
know. You disagree? Well, they're taking a year off and they need it.
Yeah, because they have to cast and they have to find women. But that
But
doesn't
not only
mean
that, it needs time.
if I were them, what I would do is I would do a test kind of cast. And what I would do is I would do two ultimate girls trips, one with the people that like we like and or like one with half, I don't want to say that. I can't be biased. One with like Tree, Jackie, Jennifer, and then a couple people that and maybe Dolores, and then maybe a couple new people that they maybe would want to put with them. And then do another girls trip with Marge, Fuda, Melissa, and Danielle, and add in a couple and Fessler and maybe a couple people that they'd want to put with them and see who gives you the best week away.
And it doesn't interest me.
Mm.
Just saying. I don't know. Okay, well, let's start. I will say, I think one thing that Bravo did that was interesting and maybe is more foreshadowing than we thought is that it played the first Last Supper before the Last Supper.
Oh yeah.
So the hour before was Teresa flipping the tables and the whole bit. And that's why I kind of felt like
It's
Bravo,
over.
yeah, a little bit of Bravo saying this was the complete circle because that was the episode before this started. And usually they lead into it like what they would have had it, and they didn't. They had the Last Supper. They had the first Last Supper with Danielle Staub and flipping the table. And then the end of this, as everybody saw, if they're watching this, was Teresa and foreshadowing of Dolores saying, well, I hope this isn't the last time I do this.
Do you know that Danielle Staub on her Instagram last week said she'd return to Real Housewives of New Jersey for 2 million a season?
Oh, well, it's not, nobody wants her.
I mean, people want her, but not for 2 million.
Okay, so let's start with were very strategic in how they had people arrive,
Oh
like
yeah.
one at a time, mic'd up. You go here,
One
you
at
go
a
there,
time.
and I'm going to call them room one and room two.
Okay,
So
room one
room
is
one is Teresa and
Jennifer,
Jackie,
Jackie, and
Jennifer,
Dolores.
and Dolo. Okay, and then
Okay.
room two's the other. So if I talk about room one, room two, that's
All
what
right.
I'm talking
Room
about.
two is Danielle, Melissa, Marge, and Jen Fessler and Rachel Fuda, just so
Yes.
that we're not biased, because we don't just call them the others just because Aunt is a tree hugger.
No, no, no. But when I say the others, I meant the rest of the
No,
cast
totally.
without having everybody know. Everybody knows. I'm just letting our listeners, viewers know. I'm calling them room one, room two. I was a little disappointed. I didn't feel like I got learned anything new.
Oh, there was
Nobody
a
gave
few things.
it really. I didn't feel like any insight except
Well, I
Rachel's
don't think it
pregnant.
was delivered by the women. I think that so there was a moment that stood out to me was when Margaret turned to to Melissa and said that Jackie must be in the other room kissing Teresa's ass, trying to like try to defend herself. And then they show Jackie not having to do any of that.
Right.
Teresa 3 to 4 different times, unsolicited, saying, "But I know why you did that because I was coming after you and Evan and blah blah blah
Right.
blah." She just
Yeah.
reiterated that, and I believe like when Bravo is that clear with an edit where they are making Marge and Melissa look paranoid or not paranoid, but thinking that they know like how Jackie's reacting, and then
Yeah.
right away showing
It's not.
Jackie not doing that,
Right. Right.
that is something. There's something to be said about that. That is not something that we should turn a blind eye to.
Yeah.
And then showing that Teresa was so okay with it because it was who like what happened with Jackie, I think was Bravo's way of showing like Teresa and Jackie are good. This
Yeah.
didn't work to separate them. And I
Right.
just would be, let's just say this. To me, it was a clear sign that both Melissa and Marge are completely done.
With the show.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think if Jersey comes back, Bravo does believe that it's Teresa's show.
Yeah.
And I will say, I will say one of the biggest takeaways was when Louis had his little wishing the worst on
I didn't like
Margaret.
Teresa's reply to it. It was
I
like
didn't
so hard to
either.
pull it out of her.
Oh, it
It was so
was,
hard for her to just be like,
and even Jennifer was saying like, Aiden was saying like, oh, yeah, I know what he means, but it's not going to come across good, Tree. Like, and it didn't. And she's, and then at the end, finally, she did say, oh yeah, okay, I'll tell him to say he's sorry. Okay.
exactly, because like that's the thing, Teresa. I learned in that moment that Teresa has a big problem with two things being true at
Accountability.
once.
Yeah.
No, like it's okay for Louis to feel, I hope that Margaret and her family go through what me and my family went through.
Yeah. Well, and I get that. I do
Yeah.
get that. I
There's
totally
another
get that.
thing about being, because the other thing that we found out is that Marge's son is like the same age as like Rachel Fuda almost. He's like my age.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like different than Louis's two kids having to go through what they've gone through, Teresa's girls having to go through what they've gone through, the same way that it would be
True.
different
Agree.
if Melissa Gorga's kids went through what they've been through. They're not the same as Margaret's adult child.
Right.
And so I just think that like the way that Louis said it came off terrible.
Right.
But when you know the show the way we do,
Right.
what I just think is that like Teresa, it's okay for him to feel the way he does about the son and about Margaret in general and karma. And there's also that maybe he shouldn't have said it that direct in that way without context, because it just came off that he wants to hurt a child when the person's not even a child.
Well, and what doesn't help is that we've never seen Margaret's kid.
Yeah, and
Is it even her kid or are they her
it's not, but she
stepchildren?
calls it and like it's whatever.
Right.
It is what
But
it is.
she doesn't she never physically gave birth to
No,
a child. They're her
no.
stepchildren, correct? That she like helped raise.
Yeah, and I think that
Jan's
like
kids. Jan's
yeah, and I
kids.
think that what bothers me is that honestly, like we don't know anything about the
We
son.
don't. So
But my thing is that I just think Louis could have said to General,
yeah,
you know,
he shouldn't have said it. He
no,
should
what
be
he should have said to
aware enough.
Teresa was, I hope that you tell Margaret everything you need to share and that the truth is finally exposed. And I just hope that karma gets her this, I hope karma does to her I hope karma puts her through the same experience that she's put us and our families through.
That would have been enough.
Yeah.
Not to wish horrible things on the son.
Or anyone specifically, because then I think that just then
Or
like is a
anybody's
paper trail.
kids, because I
Yeah.
will always say kids are off limits.
You also
Kids,
just
you just
open the
don't go
door to
there with
say,
the
like, well,
kids.
why would you say that? Versus, I hope that karma does to her what has been done to us because she deserves it.
Yeah.
There's so many questions with that statement, but it has the exact same point to it.
Right. Right. No, I know. I just that I would say that was like the only takeaway. Listen, Danielle
Coming at
isn't.
Fessler for like right when she walked in, I didn't like that.
Yeah,
And
I
have to
didn't
tell you
either.
this, Jen Fessler, you are in the same boat as others that we have seen, and I'll have to think about who these people are, but I think a good example is, honestly, a good example is um, Teresa, in the sense that Teresa for so long didn't want to talk about her legal issues. Well, then get off the
Right.
reality TV show if you
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
legal issues.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
Fessler, it's like I understand that, like me too. I couldn't go to a weekly lunch with a group of friends if every single week we are breaking glasses and not bread.
Yeah. Right.
But
Yeah.
you're on a reality show and you knew walking into this lunch that it wasn't going to be Emily Post. Let's sip our tea and talk
Right.
about, superficial stuff.
Right. Right.
So all I can say is that like I applaud your human decision. I wouldn't want to be around people throwing things and screaming and yelling consistently either.
Right.
But I also know that like that's what happens when you come on a reality
Yeah,
show.
totally. And no, you know what else I want to know, and we haven't even mentioned it, is at what point in the season did those two other girls that were straggling around in the beginning not even get invited to anything anymore? Because it's like they didn't even exist.
They
And
maybe did, and they just didn't show up the way that they needed them to, so they just blended in.
I mean, I'm just going to say that. I don't even remember their names now.
Well,
Maybe
it
like
makes me feel
Tiffany or
like we're
Crystal
really
or
seeing
something
a
like that.
massive. The other part is they may have just realized early on this is going to be the end of this cast and we're going to have to do a huge shakeup. So why are we going to introduce viewers to two new women if
No,
they're not going to
maybe.
be
Yeah,
on? Because didn't
maybe.
they kind of do that with um in which season did they kind of do that? They did that in, was it OC with who recently have they done like a pretty big shakeup on and they like had
New
just kind of
York.
had new, was it New York? But who did they have on prior? Like who was the season
I don't
before?
know what
Like,
you're trying to say, so I can't help you.
where they introduced a new
Now
wife,
I'm
but then the
starting
next
to be
season they
feel
did a whole
sorry I
shakeup.
brought it up.
No, then they
No,
did a whole
New
shakeup and
York.
it was a waste of like trying to get them to know, like get to know someone. Oh,
Oh,
I know
well,
what
the last season of New York had on like oh, what was
Ebony.
yeah, yeah. And
And
then
I
they
just
had
think,
Leah and they had
but
some
Leah was
younger
on for
people.
multiple seasons.
Yeah,
I
she was
so
with
that's
two.
not what I'm saying. I think it
Yeah.
might be just that there was like where if they don't see the show having longevity like the way it is, why are they going to bring on a couple new people? It doesn't make
Yeah, well,
sense.
I don't know. Now I'm starting to regret that I brought it up. I
Well, no,
want to
I
say
think that the new
that
people, the intention of them was to save the show and to help it go in a
yeah,
different
well,
direction, to
they
build
didn't
out new
help.
cast.
They didn't
No.
help. They didn't help. Okay, I want to say Danielle's outfit was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible. And again, I you noticed we had people talk about the hair. They were all playing with their hair again, and it's annoying. Every one of them plays with their hair. They have to stop that. Should be the Real Housewives of Hair Flips.
Have you ever had a camera follow you consistently?
No,
So maybe
but
that's why they're like consistently thinking that there's a lens on them, which I know isn't right.
yeah, but
But
you know what? I'm assuming they sat down at this, their hair and makeup got them all set, just like they do at a reunion, and they just sat there. They didn't have to constantly play with their hair. Just leave their hair alone. That's all I'm saying. It's enough to drive me crazy. All right. I didn't like how Danielle was aggressive, and then Rachel with her whole thing. And I want to tell you, at one point when Rachel says, "Oh, they're obsessed," they got that like that room one's obsessed with room two, and Rachel says, "We don't have time to be obsessed. We have kids and jobs and
oh, I know.
marriages and
And
careers." And I'm
businesses.
thinking to my and businesses, and I'm thinking, okay, well, see, let's see. Jen Aiden has all kinds of little businesses, and her husband has a business. And what do you mean?
Jen Aiden's a stay-at-home housewife. The others you can maybe
No,
say.
no, no, no. Jen is always selling this, and that online. Like she's. I would say she is an influencer to a degree. That she's always trying to sell things, and she has like an Amazon site and stuff like that to get her stuff. I mean, I consider that a business. I think she's doing stuff. I don't think she's just a housewife.
I mean, I think they all have businesses because of
That's
the
what I'm
show.
saying. They all have children. They all their husbands
Are you still
have
caught up on the age thing?
no, 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 no. What I'm saying is she said, we're not obsessed. We have this, that. And I'm thinking, okay, Teresa's got all kinds of businesses. She's got kids. She's got Louis got his thing. Aiden's in his own business. Joe the plumber is got his business. Gorga's got his business. I don't
Yeah,
know
of
what the heck
course.
Nate does, but I mean, they all got kids. Teresa's still got kids at home. Um,
Yeah.
Aiden's got 5 kids at home. Well, one's in college now,
Well,
and
I don't
maybe
know if they
2
were
now.
comparing it to them. They were just saying, we're not talking about them. We're busy. Was it
Yeah,
directly
but
like we
no,
don't have
but
anything
she
going
made it.
on?
Yeah, that's how I interpreted it, and I
Okay.
thought to myself, "What do you got going on, Rachel? You're a stay-at-home mom. What business you got? You're not running it, like you know." So she like tries to, and she's too much. Melissa's buttocks. I do not know how she would be on this show without Melissa Gorga. I don't know. I do not think without Melissa or Marge that she would be able to have any identity of her own. I
But
don't
isn't that
think
the
so.
same with Jennifer and Teresa?
Yeah, but Jennifer, I think, actually has more crazy in her life. And
Season two?
Jennifer's more of a loose cannon than Fuda, than olive oil.
Totally, but I think
Yeah,
that Teresa
totally.
gives her
Yeah.
stability that I don't know how she'd be without Teresa. The same with Fuda and Marge and Melissa. I will say this, I thought about this since last week. I know that you keep saying you get upset about like the age comments.
Yeah.
We've been dealing with this since early Jersey. Teresa used to call Caroline an old hag.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you're right.
Wait
Yeah,
till
I
your
think
kids
so.
are my kids' age, or wait till
Yeah,
my kids are like her kids' age, and then judge me. Like
right.
they've been doing that for years.
True.
And actually, I think Teresa's the first housewife that started that with Caroline.
Well, maybe. Maybe. But you know what? They were showing the table flip, like I said, and Caroline was just intolerable. I mean, listening to her talk back, I can see a time where maybe somebody will go away and they'll be gone. And Teresa will say that,
I
I mean,
mean,
she
it's
did predict every single thing, but it was the way she did it. I don't know. I think
that's her
Teresa's a
shtick.
survivor. I know. I want to say that there were no espresso martinis because it was only what, 1 o'clock. They told them they couldn't drink.
I know. Well, I didn't like. There was like a lot of it that I didn't like in the sense of just like,
Oh, you want to know what my biggest problem was? There were sometimes at the table I was having trouble remembering if it was now or then, reunion or this. I mean,
oh,
like Danielle had almost the same type of outfit on too. So I had to go like Marge was smart. She wore a completely different color. I was able to figure out Aiden wore a completely different color and Fessler had a different color on. Well, she didn't hang around for the original, but I thought it was hard at sometimes trying to
it
figure
was.
out which was which, with them going back and forth. I didn't really care for this. I didn't. I didn't think this was now they couldn't have done a reunion, but I don't know if they even needed this.
I just don't even think that they were there at the same time
I don't either.
because I can't
Except for
imagine
Dolo.
that like
Except for Dolo. That was it. I can't imagine
maybe
that
they
they'd be upstairs
overlapped.
and downstairs. Yeah, there's no way. They had one crew and they filmed one. Dolo was there. Dolo stayed. Dolo left. They filmed the second. That's what I'm assuming.
If not, like I just can't imagine that Bravo wouldn't have wanted to have some interaction or at least
I don't
like
think so. I think there was one crew that filmed them.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Because
I think
like
it was one crew. And whoever came first or last, Dolo was, the one in between. I didn't really care when Dolo went downstairs and started with, "Oh, I want to go see her because her dog died." Marge wasn't even mentioned. He wasn't even upset about the dog, really, considering. She goes, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, look at my dog." Like,
but what is she gonna
I
do in a
thought,
moment like that, get all emotional about the dog? I mean, like that
no,
seems
of
pretty
course
insane.
not. Of course not. Never. No, no, no. But in that instance, I wasn't, I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't know if the whole thing was necessary.
I just don't I you know what it is that like I don't like that when you watch it again, Jackie brought up some very, very good points, even though she was the one that had them over. Marge
Right.
was using Jackie as a way to deflect from that conversation because two things, again, can be true. Jackie had the ex over and talked to the ex, and Margaret consistently talked to the ex. The
Yeah.
difference between the two is that Teresa has found peace with Jackie, knowing that they came from a rotten place where they were both trying to hurt each other.
Mm-hmm.
And she has yet to be able to make that peace with Marge, and she never will. So,
No.
like, it's weird to me that they keep holding on to this idea of like, well, why is it okay for Jackie to do that and you're okay? It's because Teresa knows that Jackie did nothing to her and that she
Right.
went after Evan and Jackie. And so like Teresa also I think knows that like and listen, she's been forthright about this. There was, and this is maybe what it needs to be. Teresa did not have a genuine intention at first when she became friends with Jackie. She has told us this. She wanted to get information from her. Now, through that assignment, she has become genuine friends with Jackie.
Yes.
So that has changed. And that is something where I actually give Teresa and Jackie credit for
Okay.
being able to focus on the future versus the past. And I just think it's silly to try to compare the two. And I also think if you really watch it back, I don't see the difference between what Jackie has did and what Marge did, other than the fact that Jackie admitted that she talked to the ex and Marge has yet to do so.
Right. That's true.
They both weren't friends. Quite
Right.
frankly, Marge actually it's worse than Jackie because when Jackie did it, they really weren't friends. Teresa and Marge were trying to fix their situation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it was like, I just think that Jackie brings up a really good point. She also didn't say you're lying, like you're deflecting from yourself. She just goes, don't talk about me, you're deflecting from yourself. And then
Right.
when
Right.
Margaret asked the question, and I think it was good that, I think it was what, was it Melissa or was it, yeah, it was Melissa that said, listen, like you better be telling the truth. If not, like someone's probably got a receipt. And
Yes. Well,
that's
that's
what
why I
got,
told you even last episode, I really believe that Margaret had told them
well, I don't, I still
what
don't
she
know that
had on
because
Jackie.
because Melissa and
Oh, and
Leah both,
how and
well, both of them
how
said to Marge after they said, how long have you known this? Why didn't you tell me? I think Melissa was just saying, like, kind of just saying, like, as someone that's been on the show for years, watched people deny things, and then receipts come out, that she was basically sitting here being like, Jackie, if you had her over, you better be like, there
yeah.
was a little bit of like human in her that was like, listen, like, this is your
Yeah,
chance.
we were
And that's
friends.
why
Like, yeah,
Jackie
yeah,
panicked
yeah.
and was like, I
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I do want to say that Marge didn't come off good when she says, I may be sending you a screenshot. And she said, I don't have on my phone. She said it to Dolores. And it's like, really, you're in the middle of this and you're still sending screenshots?
yeah, like, I didn't
And to
like,
me, that said to every other woman at the thing, you better really be careful what you say to Margaret because she's got screenshots. So
it's
you
the
know what?
same
I
thing
would
that Louis
never
looks
send
like with the
her.
sun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, 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 no.
No, you can think, I hope the son gets what he deserves. You don't say it. You can
Right.
think, I got tons of screenshots on these women, but you don't say it. And
You
that's my
don't
thing
say
is,
it.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
similar. It's
yeah.
like we can't think about you any other way than what we heard, which was
Right.
Louis, you want to hurt
Yeah.
Margaret's kid, and which was
Yeah.
Margaret. You don't care how much you resolve, you don't care what it is.
Right.
You're gonna still tell everyone like
Right.
you got screenshot. Like it just
Right.
doesn't make sense. And I
It
just think
didn't
that
at all.
Margaret, see, like we had a viewer that said Margaret was the one that was like the MVP or whatever, and
Yeah.
I commented back and said like, whoa, 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 okay, if you want to like, if there's any MVP from that side, it's Rachel and John Fuda because even now where they're on the chopping block, they are doing whatever they need to try to get on the new cast by having a baby. Like they are
Yeah,
really
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah,
stay
yeah.
relevant.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
trying to like they have been coached by someone. I don't know who it is, but whoever's
They got
coaching them
somebody. They got
is
somebody.
an experienced housewife because they're doing things that are making them hard to let go of if Melissa, if anything is involved. Because Teresa, as I said, Teresa and Louis are willing to fight with Rachel and John. They didn't say that they weren't willing to fight with Rachel and John.
Yeah.
You also have the fact that
I
Rachel
can't
has,
see Fuda coming back on this show or Danielle though with Teresa.
oh, I can.
They're not in getting along.
I think that Bravo knows that once Melissa's gone,
Yeah. Oh, Fuda will
that
be up.
the fame is going to be more important than their friendship with Melissa and Marge.
So who do you think they'd bring? Marge and Melissa, or neither one, and
Neither
bring
one,
back a Fuda?
Fuda and Danielle, and let them bring up the past. Let them bring up the old wounds. And maybe you bring a couple people that don't like Rachel and Danielle or that, are neutral over and you try to get Teresa. Like, because my thing is that you can't, I agree that you can't have Jersey without Teresa. I also
Right.
feel
I don't see it.
I
Right.
also feel like you can't bring Teresa back and not bring Jennifer back. I also feel that if you bring any of the originals back, you have to bring Dolores back. And
Well, you have to bring Dolores is in this mix. Dolores is in this mix.
I also think that if you bring back Dolores, Jennifer, and Teresa, you automatically then start a show with a power, like with a difference in power and hierarchy. Whereas if you bring back Fuda or Danielle, you don't even have to bring back both. But if you bring back Fuda and you bring on a couple people, maybe one that Fuda knows really well, maybe one that's neutral, and you were to maybe use Dolores as the person to bring them together,
Mm.
and then maybe you were to have this moment where, like, I mean, imagine Dolores has successfully been friends with all of them without causing big divides. You also have seen lately that And I think this was on the other night on, oh, I know what it was. It was that with the OC, with Emily Simpson was on Watch What Happens Live. She was
Right.
talking about how she's friends with Vicky. She's still friends with
Yeah.
Vicky. She's friends
Yeah.
with Shannon, and she's
Right.
friends with Tamra. And
Yes.
so, like, you've seen how people have been able to successfully do it. I think that there's going to be this moment of, like when Jackie left
Right.
and when Dina left, Caroline still saw Dina, so did Teresa. But when Jacqueline left, Caroline, Kathy Wakili, they all got to see Jacqueline, but Teresa didn't. And so I do think that they have a route to maybe decide on. I think if they don't bring Teresa back, you just lose the pulse of New Jersey. But I
Right.
don't think outside of that there's a real clear favorite of whether or not you'd bring back Melissa and Marge, because you could even still bring back Jennifer Aiden if they really wanted to do Teresa dirty. They could bring back Dolores. They could just get rid of Teresa
No,
because
they won't
Jennifer
get
is
rid of
friendly.
Teresa,
But I'm saying if they
but they're
won't,
not getting rid of,
they
no. And you
won't,
know
but
what?
they could.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
They
can't
won't.
get rid of Melissa and not get rid of Marge. You
No,
can't
they're
get rid of
going.
Marge and not
If
get
I
rid of
would get,
Melissa.
I would get rid of the two of them.
Yes, and I think that they could keep the others, and I think you just bring
Yeah.
on a couple new faces and make it so that they're like real wild cards, so that you put them around both sides, see if they can find some resolution, but also let them pick the side they want to be on. I mean, I think that there needs to be some continuity, or they need to do a complete revamp, and I don't even think they can call it the same show. Like, I don't even know if it can come back.
Well, it needs a break. And it doesn't matter what we think, because they said they're not filming this summer. They didn't, and they're not going to. So they said they're taking a pause for 2025. Now we know when what do they call it? The upfronts
Yeah.
with Peacock. Jersey was not on the list of coming back for this next season. So there will be no Jersey. Who knows what will happen next? But I just had that same sinking feeling last week. I don't feel any better after this off the rails sit down, that I really believe we saw the last of Jersey.
We also like didn't hear like what the only thing that I will say that really upsets me is like I
Which
feel like
makes me sad.
we didn't get like good like one situation that really has not been talked about is truly the details around the fallout of Marge and Jackie. It's just a lot of bullshit of like,
Yeah.
she wasn't who I thought she was, she wasn't who I thought I was, now we're no longer friends. And it was
Right.
like,
Right.
wait, I want to know the play by play. Like, when did
Yeah.
this first start? What was the
Yeah.
first, like,
Yeah.
because that's the thing that like we got to see with Teresa and Melissa is
Right.
like years of fallouts of trying to rebuild, fallouts, trying to rebuild. And I think that production kind of forced a lot of that. Whereas because they didn't think people were coming back
Yeah, maybe.
because they're recasting, they
Yeah.
didn't press the Jackie and the
Right.
March thing. And now we really
Yeah,
don't.
maybe.
So
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I was just left,
yeah. I mean, I think they could also look in a direction of like bring back, maybe
it
they go
doesn't
Jalen.
matter.
If
It
they were
doesn't
smart,
matter
they
what
could
we
bring,
think.
you know
They're
who they could
not
do?
coming
Cast
back right
Lauren
now.
Manzo with Rachel Fuda and
Oh, I
like
don't want to see Lauren Manzo. I
well,
don't.
if you saw her walking down the street, you wouldn't recognize her.
I know she's all owed up.
She looks different than
Yeah,
like she ever
totally.
did before.
Totally. Now, I
So
don't
we'll
want to see
see.
the Manzos. I really don't want to see the Manzos. If we're going to move forward, we really have to move forward. But I
Yeah.
do see that everything with Teresa and Melissa, sort of like in a weird way, Ariana with Tom. That conflict of not talking together and being in scenes, and it's too much for the series.
Yeah, and I just think though that you can do it without like making it a big deal. Like they should truly just say, maybe the solution is, hey, Melissa and Teresa, we're putting you both on pause.
Yeah.
And we're bringing
No,
everyone else back and getting new women. And I don't know. All I
I
can say
don't
is that
either.
there's no way that they can just end it this way though either. That's the other thing. So there's going to be some sort of a resolution because there's just no way that they can not bring back some of these people to tie up some loose ends or have them back on Bravo. Like You know, Andy's going to have them all and watch what happens live at different times. They're going to do different things. The other thing we have to remember too is Teresa's like, you know, there could be other projects that they're working on.
Who
There
was
could be
on
other
Watch What
things.
Happens? There wasn't a Watch What Happens live last night, was there? I
Mm.
don't know because the Ultimate Girls Trip came on afterwards, so I
No,
don't
they
know.
did have it on, but they had on um they did have Watch What Happens Live. I forget who it was though.
I don't either. You know, if things were coming, anyways, we don't know because Andy doesn't call me. But I was disappointed I wasn't disappointed in the last episode, but this was just kind of like, I don't know. I didn't get the point of it. It didn't resolve anything. It didn't help anything. Nothing. It did nothing.
My mess is Jen Fessler for being late.
Well, she said she got stuck behind a truck.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but my mess is sort of Danielle because she said she didn't regret any of throwing the pitcher.
Yeah,
And she wore the same kind of outfit twice, and I didn't care for
she's
it.
gone. Danielle's gone.
Yeah, I don't know how they could bring her back. She's a lawsuit ready to happen with her pitching hand.
And also, she doesn't fit this brand.
Yeah, maybe not. All right, everyone. This is our last time doing Jersey.
Could be ever.
Could be ever, but thanks for joining us. You can still follow us on Art and Andrew, and we still do the OC every week.
And
And
we have
then
our
we got
weekly
other
show,
stuff.
Hot
And then
Topics,
hot topics. And then we've got coming up Salt Lake, New
Southern
York,
Charm,
Southern Charm.
Vanderpump. There'll
Yeah,
be lots coming.
I
So
hope so.
we
All
love you
right.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.